man, I'm living aspiration. Cutting off heads, I'm straight with decapitation. Today what I wanted to do was I wanted to continue off of the last video I did with being vegan, and today what I wanted to emphasize on is vitamins. And this one's an important one because it's important that we all make sure that we worry so much on just the macronutrients. The macro is what we call protein, fats, and then carbs. But it's the micronutrients that we really need to pay attention to, and especially with all the illnesses that we see going around, especially here in America. You see that we often deal with cancer, we often deal with heart disease, we often deal with diabetes, and that list goes on, allergies and other ailments as well. But a lot of it can be fixed if we just change up our diets, the way we eat, and making sure we're putting all the nutrients that we need inside of our bodies. So I want to go in a little bit about that, and what I want to focus on is this particular part is the immune system, and then the vitamins that are essential that I believe to be at least the basics that we all need. From there other vitamins or other nutrients you may need, such as omega-3s, vitamin E, that can all depend upon the person and your unique situation. Everybody's unique. But I think there's at least vitamins that you need that are the core to a solid health plan, and just staying optimal. The key is, what I always say is I want to be optimal. And for those of you that want to be optimal, this is a start. Vitamins shouldn't be replacing whole foods. Most of your nutrients should come from whole foods. But the way our society is today, how it is harder for us to constantly be eating. We eat 3 meals a day, maybe 4, depending on the person. And all the nutrients that we need, not just, like I mentioned in the last video, not just the recommended daily amounts. That's just the minimum so you can prevent illness. But to be optimal, it's good to make sure we're eating whole foods and then supplementing it with the vitamins. So first one that I wanted to get on, I got my little stash right here, is vitamin C. And I'm zoom in. I don't know if you can see it from here. We're going to zoom in and all that good stuff. But vitamin C is the core. And I think we should all be using this. This is what I use every day. This one's from Viva Natural. So vitamin C. Why is it important? Because it's the ascorbic acids which your body uses for its immune system, for its defense system. So the recommended daily amount, I believe, for men is 90 milligrams and for women is 75 milligrams. And those numbers are to prevent, like I said, any ailments, rickets and things like that. But to be optimal, right, humans, we lost the ability to create vitamin C on our own. Other animals can, but we lost that ability. So we've had to get those nutrients from what we eat and putting those nutrients in our body. So what one of the doctors did in the Disease Delusion book is that he compared it to, for example, another animal of comparable size to us, which was a goat. And the amount that a goat makes on the daily is 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. And that number goes up if they're sick. That number can increase. So what is recommended is that we all at least take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. So that's what I do. I make sure that I get my 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. It's best to do it, and with all of these vitamins, it's best to do it with ones that come from plants, not from in the lab, because when you come from plants, there's certain nutrients that go along with the vitamins. We call them phytonutrients, plant nutrients, phytonutrients, plant nutrients. So that all is there with the vitamin C. And when you come with a lab, right, it's just strictly the vitamin C. There's no other nutrients that go along with it. And it's harder for our bodies to absorb it without these other nutrients. So you just want to make sure you're getting it from plant sources. So vitamin C is the first one. The next one is vitamin D. Is another big one, especially for all of us, people of color as well too. That's a big focus, especially for us, but vitamin D is the next one. I take 25 IUs, but most times you don't want to go past 25 IU. You don't want to go to 3,000. Like I said, it all depends on the person. But vitamin D is another one you want to make sure you have in the system, especially for us people of color. It being a sunshine vitamin, right? We need to be in the sun. Often or not, in today's society, we don't have the chance to be outside as much as we used to back in the day. We're constantly indoors, so we're not being exposed to vitamin D as much as we should. So it's important to make sure that we're supplementing it, and especially us in the northern regions where it's colder, there's not as much sun. You want to make sure that you're getting the vitamin D that you need. And that's important for your immune system and as well as your bone health as well too. And a lot of us aren't getting as much as we need to be optimal. That's the word, optimal. So vitamin D is another big one. The next one that I do is B12. The one I said in the beginning of the last video. Oh, if I give up meat, how am I getting my B12? What I had to learn was that B12 actually comes from bacteria. It is not specifically from animals at all. It's from bacteria. And so you want to make sure that you're getting the B12, especially for those who are already vegan, and then those who are trying to make the transition, and even for individuals that are eating meat. Make sure you have enough B12 in your body. So I use the one from Naturelo, Vegan B12. This is 1,000 mcg, so I don't use this one daily. I probably do this one once a week because it's a heavier amount. And then the one I'm about to show you is the multivitamin, and that's what I use mainly throughout to get the B12 throughout the days. But I'll make sure that I use this at least once a week. So vegan B12, and then the multivitamin. And this primarily for me is just to make sure I'm meeting the bare minimum of nutrients, and that goes for all the B vitamins, zinc, iodine, the list goes on. So I just make sure that I have at least the bare minimum of all the micronutrients that I need. And once again, I use the Naturelo One Daily Multivitamin for Men. And I recommend that most of us do use a multivitamin, especially here in America. You know, often or not, our diets don't contain all the necessary nutrients that we need in our body. We eat a lot of processed food. We're heavy on meat, not enough plant foods. So we want to make sure that we're at least getting the bare minimum, and then when we eat, that we're adding on to that. So the multivitamin is what I recommend. I recommend the vitamin C. I recommend the vitamin D. And from there, you know, you can build off of that. There's, like I said before, there's omega-3s, there's vitamin E's, some people need zinc. It all depends on your specific individual situation, but at least make sure that you have the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and the multivitamin. And that needs to be the core package. That's like the starter kit, you know what I'm saying? You need the starter kit first, and then expand off of that. So those are the vitamins that I want to mention to you all. If you have any questions on it, please let me know. As I mentioned, make sure that you're getting the vitamins from plant sources. It contains all the other nutrients, phytonutrients that your body uses to make sure that it's absorbing the vitamins, and also just for optimization of the body, I mean. And from there, there's plenty. I'll have the ones that I use specifically, and I highly recommend these ones. I'll have those in the link in the description. And then from there, you know, I'm gonna keep giving you game on some health tips, helping you all out so we can all be optimal. So I wanna make sure that you guys have everything you need to be optimal. You know, we suffer from a lot of diseases here in America, and I want to start changing that, especially for people of my community. We often are faced with a number of health problems that we can ultimately do things on the daily to avoid these things, or decrease our chances of getting these diseases. So let's stay optimal. That's it for today. Stay tuned. I'm out.
When it's time to ride, I never crash like Susie. Lyrics make you woozy, inspired by Juicy. The way to branch out is to kill all of these loose